Hello, welcome to another installation of Tania Wright's Poem Before the Poets, which is a book review. This week we are covering the book Teaching My Mother How to Give Birth by Warsan Shire. I think it's one of those Maya Angelou things. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce her last name, but I'm certain that I love her poetry. Warsan is Somalian, born in Kenya, raised in the UK, and then I think she lives in LA now. I'm not sure if that's changed. But anyways, her family story, her story covers the topic of immigration. In fact, that's like a form of activism for her. Within her writing is putting voice to that story. And a true and realistic voice, which is one thing that I love about her work. But anyways, so she was the Young Poet Laureate for London in 2014. You might be familiar with her from Beyonce's Lemonade album. If you heard the poetry spoken and the interludes or in between the music videos, that was Warsan's work. She's amazing. So she has 3 books out. This is one, Teaching My Mother How to Give Birth. And then she also has Our Men Do Not Belong to Us, Her Blue Body. And then she has another book coming out next year called Bless the Daughter Raised by the Voice in Her Head. And we will definitely be covering that because I love this poet. So let's take a look at the book cover before I kind of give you an overview. So I love book cover art. This is like a female body, obviously, and then you see these weapons of war, guns. There's also some grenades in here. A child is swallowing a grenade. That's a passport. That's an injection. And so this really sets the tone for the book because a lot of the topics is how war and men were destroying the women in this book. Yeah, it talks about this. Themes within this book include womanhood, girlhood, sexual violence, just sexuality in general. So one other thing about this book and just Warsan's writing style in general is that it is very character driven. I like have this thing where like my favorite poems to read right now are ones that are very clear in their storytelling, very like almost like how you have like novellas, but like for poetry. I have been loving that, and this gives that all day, every day. And then I also love that the story is not told in a completely linear fashion. It kind of jumps around, like the grandfather, if it is the same group of people they have, pop in and out, and then the story about the father in the story. So yeah, and the other thing too, I've talked about it briefly before, is that it's about immigrants as well, and this is not stereotyping immigrants in any way, and I very much appreciate that. I was reading an article and she was talking about how in her writing process she'll call like a family member or someone she knows and like she gets the story from them, so she knows that she's telling the story in a true and authentic way. And you can definitely feel that, like you can feel the strength and the victimhood at the same time, but you never like just sit in it either, which I think is an interesting way how she navigates that space. But anyways, we're gonna go over 2 poems, one that is very popular from this book and one that isn't so popular but I liked. This is Maimun's Mouth. Maimun lost her accent with the help of her local community college. Most evenings she calls me long distance to discuss the pros and cons of heating molasses in the microwave to remove body hair. Her new voice is sophisticated. She is taken to dancing in front of strangers. She lives next to a Dominican who speaks to her in Spanish whenever they pass each other in the hallways. I know she smiles at him, front teeth stained from the fluoride in the water back home. She's experiencing new things. We understand. We've received the photos of her standing by a bridge, the baby hair she hated all her life slicked down like ravines. Last week, her answering machine picked up. I imagine her hoisted by the waist, wearing stockings, learning to kiss with her new tongue. This poem. This poem was one of the few where I felt like the woman was like happy. I know that sounds weird, but Warsan's poems never shy away from negative emotions, but she does it in such a good way. It's almost hard to articulate. Like, you know how some people are like avoiding the negativity and they're like, oh, negativity doesn't bother me. Warsan is like, no, this is it. This is the war. This is how we were victimized. This is what we were subjected to, and this is how we came out. And it's like, not only is she experiencing liberation, but it's also she's experiencing new cultures outside of her own and losing touch of home. And I think it's so interesting that this is like one of the few happy poems. And then like also like contrasting that to what's coming up next, which is Ugly, which is a poem about a girl who has immigrated, but unlike Maymun, who is like in college, you know, connecting with her neighbors, dancing, like just living her best life, we see that this girl here in Ugly is isolated. So let's get into that poem. Ugly. Your daughter is ugly. She knows loss intimately, carries whole cities in her belly. As a child, relatives would not hold her. She was splintered wood and seawater. She reminded them of the war. On her 15th birthday, you taught her how to tie her hair like rope and smoke it over burning frankincense. You made her gargle rose water, and while she coughed, said, Makanto girls like you shouldn't smell of lonely or empty. You are her mother. Why did you not warn her? Hold her like a rotting boat and tell her that men will not love her, if she is covered in continents, if her teeth are small colonies, if her stomach is an island, if her thighs are borders. What man wants to lie down and watch the world burn in his bedroom? Your daughter's face is a small riot, her hands a civil war, a refugee camp behind each ear's a body littered with ugly things. But God, doesn't she wear world well? Let's talk about Ugly on its own. Like, Warsan, queen of imagery. Like, I don't know what more you want. I think this whole book is a testament to that, but Ugly is definitely one of those things. Like, the metaphors that she uses here are crazy. Like, if she is covered in continents, if her stomach is an island, if her thighs are border, a refugee camp behind each ear. Like, you know how you read poetry that's so good, it's like you have to do the stink face. Like, this is that kind of poem. And if you're not familiar with what a metaphor is basically like a comparison that doesn't use like or as. I'm just saying that because I don't want to make assumptions about what people know. If you already know, good for you. If you just found out, even better. So yeah, this is what I liked about Ugly, because it's almost like she's getting shunned for being a reminder of what she is the product of the circumstances she was born into. But within that, this mother is trying to like cleanse that from her. But it's like, this rose water is not about to help your daughter. Like, it is not about to help her, because this frankincense, I don't think it's about to help her either, because it's all over her face, it's all over her body, it's written all over her. And this is something obviously she didn't ask for, but she learns how to carry these stories in the best way that she can, which is like a contrast between Maymun's mouth, where these are both girls who have gone from whatever this war is, whatever this country is to a new country. And Maymoon, maybe it's because she's older and more mature and she kind of gets to be liberated, whereas this daughter is very much still, even though they're somewhere else, they're still she's still steeped in the trauma, you know. Like, it's not like Maymoon who's like able to like dance it off, you know. So Warsan's talented. This book, 10 out of 10. I'm gonna let you guys know whenever this Warsan's next book drops. I'm over that like white on rice. I really am. But thank you for listening. Thank you for your time and attention. Again, my name is Tania. This is Tania Writes. We do uploads I say we, like I'm a whole team, maybe, but I do uploads every Sunday. You can follow me on Instagram at Tania_Writes.